what is a transit system without bus drivers? The drivers are the critical component that enable our transit systems to operate and enable workers to get to jobs, students to get to school, seniors to get to appointments. Those drivers are really what make the system happen. So we're joined today by Glenn Tolbert, who leads the Amalgamated Transit Union, Local 26, here in Detroit, and represents the DDOT bus drivers. Here to talk a little bit about what some of the challenges are that drivers have been facing this year, and how drivers and riders can work together to improve transit for our whole community. Thank you for joining me, Glenn.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So for anyone who's not familiar, can you tell our viewers a little bit about ATU and about your members?
Yes, ma'am. Well, ATU is one of the oldest transit agencies in the transit unions, in the country and in Canada. We have members in Canada. We have over 290,000 members in US and Canada. We represent almost every state in the union, and with the exception of Hawaii and Alaska. So we pretty much have a local in every union. You know, we represent the men and women from school bus drivers to through over-the-road Greyhound in the US and Canada.
All right. And here in Detroit, that is primarily your local works with the DDOT drivers. Is it specifically the drivers or broader?
Well, my local, the international president is President John Costa. He just came aboard as well as I did, as president of this union, Local 26. We do have an ATU sister union, which is Smart 1564. Who operates the suburban transit system. We are mainly in the city of Detroit. I also represent the men and women around down at Q line, at the Q line.
Okay.
So the train that runs down Woodward there.
And how many people are working for? How many members do you have at DDOT these days?
It's getting the numbers are getting shorter because people are leaving at an alarming rate. We're at 490. I believe at convention time we were around 550 or something like that.
Okay.
And those people are not all working because some are off on COVID-related illnesses and things like that. So
sure. Well, yeah, I know that DDOT drivers have struggled this year, as have drivers across the country.
Yes.
With the very real fears of COVID, which is heartbreakingly took one of your members, Jason Hargrove,
yes,
along with your predecessor at ATU and far too many others.
Yes.
On behalf of bus drivers, I want to make sure to thank you and all the transit workers who have kept our community functioning and kept essential workers on the job. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the struggles that DDOT drivers have been facing over the past year?
Well, first of all, just to preface things, I've been a union rep for, this will be my 17th year. And I've never seen anything like it. I know neither of my predecessors have seen anything like this COVID situation. It's a challenge on everyone. The DDOT drivers, the mental stress is probably the worst, to get up every morning knowing you're going into a possible dangerous situation. And then they just don't feel like they're being valued like they should be. We talk about frontline workers, and we talk about, I don't understand how bus drivers are not frontline workers. We're essential, but we're not frontline. It's really mind-boggling. At the beginning of the pandemic, the hospitals were turning people away. If you weren't in dire strait, you couldn't even go to the hospital. We don't have any such criteria. Everybody and anybody gets on the bus. We don't know if they're COVID, if they have COVID or not. We're trying to do it the best way we can, and we're still coming. We're still coming under some real issues. We've been able to get some PPE after doing some things that were really untraditional. We were able to get the PPE and the shields that we need finally. So we're making progress, but it's still not enough. I want to make sure that what happened to Mr. Jason Hargrove, and we will never forget him, doesn't happen to anyone else. I don't want to have that conversation with another family.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I know that you guys did fight hard to make sure that there were plenty of masks available, both for drivers and for riders.
Yes.
And I know the city's been putting barrier shields, sort of the sneeze guard type things, into the working from home. The cat wants to join into the buses to shield the driver. Are those all in, or are they still working on putting those in?
From my understanding, as of Tuesday, the director said they all should be in by the 1st of March. So there are a lot of them in, especially on the new buses, and
Okay.
those shields have been coming for a long time. It took COVID to get them, and it's a start. It's not the cure all, but it's the start.
Sure, absolutely. And so drivers have to deal not only with the regular stresses of driving a large vehicle on busy roads, and while also keeping an eye on passengers who aren't, well, many are great, not always 100% well behaved. What are some of the so the risks of COVID have then made it that much harder? I know that the city has said that they've been having a hard time attracting and maintaining enough workers, that a lot of workers are leaving. What do you think would help that situation? What do your members need to feel safe and compensated for the risks they're taking?
I believe that hazard pay has to come back. I mean, especially in light of, our sister local Smart still receiving hazard pay. It has to come back. And obviously you have to pay people for what they do. I mean, for one system to pay its drivers $5 more an hour. And at the height, DDOT drivers, we carried almost 2/3 more than Smart drivers. So, I mean, it's really a slap in the face. And a lot of people are just tired of it, and they're leaving. They're either retiring, some at very young ages, that could have gone at least 10 more years. We're losing experienced drivers that are leaving at 25 as opposed to 30. So, and then you took the pension way down with the bankruptcy, and so people are just trying to get another start. I mean, they love their job. I think everybody that drives a DDOT, it's something that you have to love. You really have to love. Not everybody loves it, but the majority of them love it. The people that are leaving out this door had at least 10, 15 years, left to serve the public, the citizens of Detroit and Southeast Michigan.
Yeah, and what were you telling me? The drivers only start at $13.
I want to say $13.48. We've been steady trying to get that up, but you can, you get this with training. So Detroit has become a training ground for other agencies. They're getting their CDLs here, and they're going other places where they can start at $17, and you can't blame them. While everybody around the country is talking about $15 an hour, at least, and we're professional men and women. We hold a professional license. I don't understand what part of that the city doesn't understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have been negotiating for more than 2 years to get a contract?
Before my predecessor left, Fred Westbrook, who also passed during his COVID, and Henry Gaffney, his predecessor, passed during COVID. So it's been stressful for everyone, even myself sitting in the seat when I have to tell you, my mortality came into play when the person before me and the person before him passed during the COVID. And, I'm a praying man, so I prayed about it, and I'm good with it. And I'm gonna keep coming out here, and I'll keep risking it, to do what I can for the citizens of Detroit and my members, make sure that my members are safe.
Now you guys are now starting to get the COVID vaccines?
We are. I mean, as of 2, 3 weeks ago, the city has been putting the COVID vaccine into the terminals. You
Great.
know, I just have to, get everybody to trust it, and because it's, when you're talking about something that's hasn't been approved or things like that, there are a lot of. I've
Sure.
taken mine. I have taken mine under my doctor's approval, so I have
Yeah.
taken mine, but
No,
it's
I'm glad that between the shields and the vaccines, that should start addressing at least the COVID part, but that certainly doesn't address some of the other challenges drivers face every day.
yes,
Now, I mean, riders and drivers certainly share the goal that expanded transit that ensures everyone can get where they need to go is what I know you guys want to provide and what riders really need. And we're pleased to have had the chance to work with you guys on a number of occasions. Um, what would you say is the current state of transit in the Detroit area, and what do you think could be done to make transit better, both for riders and drivers in this community?
Well, I believe you have to listen. It's just as simple as listening to what the riders are saying that they need, and listening to what the drivers are saying they need. I mean, if you give people the tools to do the job, and you empower them with what they need to take care of their family, I believe we can have this system running like a world-class city that we are. So, I mean, the city just has to listen.
Absolutely. Well, we certainly want to extend our appreciation to you, to all of your members for continuing to work through this tough year. And we'll certainly continue to fight with you to make sure that you guys are getting that there's the funding that the city needs to support the drivers and to hopefully expand the system
Yes.
in the next few years. Well, we've been talking with Glenn Tolbert, president of the Amalgamated Transit Union, ATU Local 26, who represents DDOT drivers on TRU's Tapping into Transit series. I want to thank all of TRU's members, the people who support our work, who make this possible. For anyone who's not yet a member of TRU, please do join with your contribution at DetroitTransit.org. And stay tuned for more videos exploring all of the different important issues facing transit in this region. Thank you, Glenn,
Thank you.
for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Ms. Megan.